Hello everyone, welcome back. So in this session today we are going to see the Appium migration, which we have seen already couple of videos before, where we have seen that the Appium 2.0 and then after that the Appium inspector, what are the different changes that the Appium is bringing after a long time, and then that is a continuation of that particular series. And today we are going to see that the Java client, which is basically we are using for our if you are writing a Appium script by using your Java language, then you have to use the Java client as your Maven dependency or the Gradle dependencies, right? So even to support the W3C protocol standard, or we call it as the Appium 2.0 server, there are a couple of changes they did with respect to the Java client library as well. So if you are not following from past couple of months, you might be still using the Java client version 7 in your dependencies, but then it is already moved to the 8.x some version actually. So now we are going to see that if your framework is still into the version 7, or you want to know what are the different changes they are introducing into the version 8, then please keep watch this video. Okay, so now let's see the documentation. They've really maintained a good documentation and they will be keep updating here. So I won't be going through literally each and every line here, but I will be giving you a kind of a summary and then some of the practical usages. Okay, so the first thing is that we have already discussed before, all these migrations are part of supporting the W3C specification or the guidelines, so that it would be consistent across different devices and also the drivers also. And also, if you would have heard about the Selenium 4, that is also using the W3C protocol, which is avoiding the JSON void protocol actually. Okay, so now the first difference that they are bringing into the version 8 of the Appium Java client, that is the base options, or you call it as the XQ test options or the UI Automator 2 options. What are these options actually? So these are nothing but the replacement of your desired capabilities. So if you would have seen, let me just go back to my previous test actually. So if you see, this is one of the easy tests that we did. But if you want to know the framework and everything, all these things are already here. We will even migrating this framework to the version 8, and we'll see what are the detailed changes that we need to do with respect to this framework. But if you see the version 7, we had actually these desired capabilities, and after doing this desired capability, we need to assign that capability into the driver initialization. But now we need to use the options. So now, irrespective of whether you are using Android or iOS, you were using the desired capabilities. But now they are suggesting do not use the capabilities, rather you use this UI Automator 2 options or the XQ test option. Okay, it is just an options class. You need to just create an object of that, and after that you need to use all these key value parameters or the capabilities or the options we call it. Okay, so that is one change they did. Now the second thing is that this is basically the elements. So like if you might have used a lot of different places like mobile buy, okay, so this is very specific to your to inspect the elements from the mobile, okay, from the Android or iOS side. Even that is also deprecated now. So instead you have to use the Appium buy. So in a sense, if I go and talk to you what is the exact difference, if you see, there is a mobile element that we were taking as a type, and then this would have allowed us to take some mobile specific locators like accessibility ID. This is not available in your Selenium, right? If you want to access this one, you have to use the mobile buy class. Now this is actually deprecated. Instead this you need to use the Appium buy. Okay, and then also this mobile element is also now deprecated. So any instances where you are giving the mobile element, this is deprecated. Instead you can just keep it as Appium driver only, and then this driver dot find element Appium buy, then you will be getting all the predicate string for your iOS, or like let's say accessibility ID, or any specific Android or iOS related locator strategies you can use by using the Appium by. So that is one of the changes they did. Okay, and now all the find by shortcut methods, everything they have removed now. Okay, and instead of that you need to use the Appium by. That's it in this. Okay, now after that, like if you see couple of places like your WebDriver wait and all those things we were using, let me show you one of that example. So if you go to, maybe it is in utility method, and if I go bottom, so this is my old code actually. Okay, I just kept it to showcase you guys what was before and what we are going to change it. So if you see this new WebDriver wait, here we were giving a hardcode time into the seconds actually, but now they are using they are suggesting do not use this one, rather you use the Java time unit. Like if you go, you have to use this Java time duration. So it means that you have to give duration dot of seconds, of minutes, all these things you can do. And this is also a kind of part of the Selenium 4 migration. Even there also you need to use the Java class to specify the timing, and it is good actually. Like you can take the specific overloaded method, whether minutes, seconds or hours, and you can specify here. So duration dot of seconds, of minute or of hours, and then inside that you need to send the parameter. So that is one of the changes they did. Some kind of events also they changed, and if you want to understand more, they very clearly explained here all these things. You can see that, and they have given an example as well, so you can use if you are really using the listeners actually to listen to your Appium commands. Okay, so that is one change. Okay, so now talking about this Appium driver, now there is no layer between your remote WebDriver and Appium driver actually. So now it is directly inheriting from the remote WebDriver. Okay, so there is no intermediary interfaces or the classes that is in between your remote WebDriver and Appium driver. Now it is directly inheriting from there. So that is one of the changes where they are reducing the number of class or interface calls there. Okay, and as I told that the mobile element is now deprecated. So wherever you were using the mobile element, now you have to use the web element, and this is actually the part of this mobile element deprecation and introducing this Appium by is kind of mutually dependent actually. So now you don't really need to distinguish between your WebDriver and the driver, because any mobile specific element locators you want to use it, driver.find element, inside that just put Appium by dot, you will get all the mobile specific locator strategies. So that is one of the change related to your mobile element. Okay, and then one more interesting thing is that now you have to use the send keys, which is the Selenium's default method, right? Sometimes we were seeing even it was giving a set value method also. So you don't need to really use it now. You can just use the send keys method to send any of the values to your text box or text area. Okay, so that is one change. Another change is that the touch actions class is deprecated actually. So there are two different classes. One is touch actions and multiple touch action. So these two things got deprecated. Let me show you here. So we have extensively used this in the scrolling. If you would have watched my previous video, we have taken extensive touch action and performs touch actions class to kind of do the scroll. So now these methods are deprecated. So as soon as I will update my pom.xml, this Java client to 8.11 or whatever version, immediately it will throw error here actually, because these two classes are deprecated now. So we cannot use this particular scroll down method, but no need to worry about that. There are a lot of different other ways, even we have seen that. So like if you come back to your the UI scrollable. So this is one of the Android's stable scrolling mechanism based on a text or based on an element. You can scroll on a screen actually. So that is one of the benefit. Or even you can use if it is a iOS or in iPhones or in tablets, then you can use this mobile scroll actually. So if you see that mobile scroll, and then there are a lot of options are available, like the predicate string based on the value, name, element ID, lot of different things you can use. So we can take these two methods, combine together and make a utility method. We can do that. Let's say that these two things you don't want, still no need to worry about that. We have taken this concept, actually, if you remember, we have clearly explained all these things. How do you really swipe it, actually, by using the swipe method. So indirectly I'm trying to say is that you cannot use this particular touch actions now. For every kind of a gesture, they have given couple of new methods. And Appium Pro, if you know, Jonathan Lips maintains this particular Appium Pro website or his blog. He clearly mentions about his changes whenever it is coming. So you can just go into this and try to understand what are the different methods they have introduced. If not, we will definitely see while we are updating our framework. Okay, and even some examples also they have mentioned here, so you can go back and look into that. Okay, so now if you are using your launch app, reset app or close app, all these things now got deprecated. Instead of that, they are using the activate app or something. So if you want to know more details, you can go to this particular location and you will get all the details. Okay, now coming to the next, the Appium driver local service. Now you know this is the method or the class that we were using to start our server. Again, let me take you back to my previous code base where we have already done the Appium server. How do we really start or stop the server? There are a lot of methods, but then the concept is very simple. The main logic is we have written here. So these are just different getting instances, making the singleton pattern and all those things. So don't worry about that. But this concept is a little bit changed actually. So no need to worry about that. So the thing what they have added is that, so see, before we were taking like the local port, right? So if you don't want to take this node and Appium.js and all these things, we can even use with the IP address. With IP address, that is my local, because I'm running the Appium server into the local, and then I'm using the port as 4723. So before, if you would have seen that, let me just take you back here. We were using the WD hub actually. So this one we were appending, because when you run this server, right, Appium used to append the WD hub when it started the run, but now they have removed it. So now no explicit appending of the WD hub, they have completely removed. Now the URL would be localhost/4723. So when you are running your Appium server, that time you should be removing this WD hub. But that leads to another change. Now let's say that you are not using Appium 2.0. Okay, you are using still the Appium GUI, which is the older version of the UI. In that case, here you need to add the WD hub separately. Okay, do not get confused. Let me just show you this particular thing. So now with the latest, okay, that is your Appium 2.0 server actually. If you are using that server, then you have your URL is this one. But if you are taking the previous version of the Appium server, that is Appium 1.20, 22 or something, that time you have to use this one. As simple as that. Okay, the only thing that changes from this perspective here, if you are using your Appium server programmatically, but if you are using the older version of the Appium server, then you have to just add this argument actually. So you have to just copy paste here, and then somewhere here you just need to do like this actually. That's it. No other things you really need to do that. Okay, so that is one of the thing you can use it here. Okay, so these are the different the main components that they have changed from Appium version 7 to 8. But don't worry about that. This particular framework, right, which we have seen, I'll show you that. Like when you change this, right, let's say that I'm using the Appium 8.11. So I think that is the, okay, 8.20 I guess. So let me just take it, and then if I just install the latest version of the Appium Java client, okay, And then if I go to this Android test, which we have done a basic test, you can see there are a lot of different errors that it is giving actually. The reason is that, and like if I go any utility method, there are a lot of errors. You can see that mobile element is deprecated, then it is giving a warning for your touch actions. Here if you go, it will say that these are getting deprecated. You can see that deprecated. Expected conditions also deprecating. We need to explicitly use the Selenium support UI if you are using with Appium actually. The same thing, there are a couple of things. If I move here, Android driver, we were taking this parameter to understand if it is Android driver or not. This got changed. And then couple of the mobile buy, somewhere we have used like all this expected conditions. And then if I go here, like this, you can see mobile buy dot accessibility ID, all these things got changed. I mean, if I want to run this particular test, there might be hundreds of errors it will be displaying. But these are very safe changes, don't worry. It will definitely improvise your test script execution rather than it will be just getting any issues. So it is good always to take the latest version of this. So yeah, I think that was pretty much it. A kind of heads up about what are the different changes are coming. But again, we will be starting to see how we can configure the Android to run the Android test, how we can configure the iOS specific components to run the iOS, and then change this particular framework to fit with the Android Appium server 2.x, then your Appium Java client 8. Okay. So hope this session is useful. So stay tuned, do subscribe to this YouTube channel because we will be seeing some more interesting topics in our upcoming sessions. Thank you for watching.